You want to kick us off, Carmen?
Welcome, welcome. We are here this morning. I don't even have our notes in front of me right now, but we are going to just kind of go back to the basics, I think, this morning and just kind of work on our lists and just kind of give us a little a bump in I think I wanted to talk about doing three-way calls a little bit too, and just kind of getting things booked this week. I think it's really important. I've been doing a few three-way calls for people, and they are really, really good. I just, I think it's about forming that relationship. And I think that's where the three-way calls come in so good because we're just, and then it's learning how to just ask the right questions and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Sarah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for everybody for coming. And I'm just going to hand it to Sarah.
Perfect. So those that are new here or watching this again on YouTube, this is the Partnership Power Hour. Carmen and I are not in the same business, but we are best friends. And here with Partner Co, we are better together. And it's clear I am better with Carmen by my side. Oh my goodness. But here we brand you with purpose, alignment, and authenticity. Today we're going to be talking about the power of one. And Carmen, you just kind of talked about it, like talking about having, conversations and creating those connections and talking about introductions and stuff, like having those introductions with people to get them in our business and whatnot. So you jumped in and started talking about it, and I love that. Is there anything that you want to say before I read all of this?
No, go ahead, Sarah. Let's just get
Okay,
right to it.
perfect. Well, so most people are stuck with having a conversation, with making that connection, with doing that introduction because they don't know enough information. They're stuck because they're not talking to enough people, right? I sit at my desk and I'm working continuously, but I also have to make time to have those appointments to talk to a lot of people, right? And I'm sure you all do too, because you all have other things that you have ongoing in your life as well. But one thing that we know is that success is not found in knowing more. Success is found by doing more. So putting forth the effort to go and do more is what is going to be successful and bring you success. Action creates clarity, conversations create momentum, and then momentum creates results. Anything you want to say to that, Carmen?
Yes, I do. Okay, so I just love this because for me especially, like I'll just talk about myself here because in the beginning of this of a business for me, I'm kind of like one of those people you would call ignorance on fire. I know nothing, but I am so excited. Because I'm a visionary. So when I see the vision of what we can accomplish with a system in place that's proven and the right people and the right company and the right products, I just get excited. I personally, like, people will ask me how much are the drops. I was like, I don't know. Let me find my link. You'll find out when you see your cart. Like, I feel like we almost like get, it's too much when we get, like, there's a lot of moving parts with this company, and I feel like a lot of people go into training before they even get into just sharing the vision. And when I say less is best, I really believe that because we sometimes kind of go in and we know the people that we're talking to. We have a thought of like why, but we really need to go into those conversations asking the questions. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here with these slides, but the conversations and building that relationship in the beginning and asking questions and learning about our people is where it's at. I think that is the most key, and just saying less about our business and asking more about them. I'll just leave it at that.
I agree. And especially with having those conversations and making that connection, that's huge because you don't want to like word vomit on them because then they're just going to be like, this is just too much for me. And Carmen, you were kind of ahead of yourself, but hey, at least you know what we're talking about today. I love it.
Isn't that something, eh? I love it, Sarah.
Oh my goodness.
Sarah's all like, "Woo! Thank God, Carmen has an idea what's going on today."
No, you always do. You always do. I just got to pick on you. So,
Oh,
with that, with having those conversations, we need to build the list. It could be the list, it could be a list, but we're going to get into that. So, If it's not on your list, it doesn't exist. It's not real if it's not on paper. That is something that someone very, very close to me has always told me. If it's not on paper, it's not real. So that's something that we're going to have you to do today, but we'll get to that momentarily. But what kind of list do we want you to make? Right? So we want to know, who do you know that needs better health? Who do you know who needs extra income? Who are your former customers? Who are your former business partners? Maybe they signed up a year ago. They've been inactive. Maybe it's another business that you've been a part of. Write their names down. Who are your friends and family? Who have you been making connections with on social media? Make sure you write those names down. And Carmen, I made sure to put this because I knew I would forget this. I put everyone pull your phone out because I knew I would totally forget that. So, what we want you to do for the next 5 minutes is go back what I just mentioned on those bullet points and write down 20 names, just 20. And you don't prejudge. That's something that I did. I was going through my list the other day and I'm like, "Oh, well, they won't be interested." Don't do that. You don't know where they are in life. They may need this. This may be the blessing that they've been looking for and praying about. You never know. So don't prejudge. Just simply, you see their name, write their name down, or you see their picture or something, or you think about them, write their name down, right? Because your job here is to invite them. They don't know if they don't know, right? Carmen,
Mhm.
anything you want to say to that?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that we really do. I think it's almost a fear thing. We almost want to make decisions for people. And it's kind of our way because I think it's almost a fear of rejection. And I think that when we see people's names, when people come to mind, it's happening for a reason. And we don't know what that reason is. And it might not be a right now, but it might be a relationship that needs to start forming. And so I think that if we let go of the outcome so much and focus on the now of like, oh, why am I seeing this person on Facebook? Why did I see that post that they wrote? Like that resonates with something in you or aligns with something with what we're doing here with our company. And we'll say this again and again. Like I don't think there's one person on this planet that doesn't want better health and more finances. I mean, we never really truly arrive, right? So when a name comes to mind, it's a nudge. It's like, and so like when Sarah says write it down, or like if it's not on your list, it doesn't exist. Pen to paper, you guys, is the best thing ever. When we write down our goals, when we write down lists of people, have it visual and start seeing that happening. So if there's somebody that's on your list that you're thinking, oh, I would love that person to join me and partner with me and do this business with me, write it down because I think that when you do that, it starts your brain. It's our mindset and it starts to like, for me, I pray. I'm like, God, if this person's supposed to be in my business, then I ask you to open the way, make a path for us to align. And I always ask God to fill my mouth with his words, not mine. I try to, and I always say God gave me two ears and one mouth, which I know some of you that are listening are probably thinking, yeah, exactly, Carmen. But I know for me, it's like I'm aware of that, right? And so I know I can tend to go, "Ugh." But when I sit back, like, so I'll just share. Yesterday, we had a really great Zoom, like with a friend of mine who came on, and it was I've only shared a couple things with him, but in that he was been on my list for a long time, and because I would like to partner with him. He's been somebody that I believe will align with our company. But in our Zoom yesterday, it was all about the relationship and just building that trust. Because when we're all, when we put ourselves in those shoes, it's like, what do I need to know for myself to join? So people will come in because they just want to try the products. We know that. But if you're really focused on building a team and building that residual income, it is important to build that list. And if you're here because you want to set your family free, we've got to do that work. We've got to make those lists and make those lists come to life. And I'll tell you guys, it is that third party. I guess I think I'm gonna get ahead of myself again. Sarah, next slide. I'll hand it back to you.
Oh, it's funny you say that because I was writing my 20 names down as you were
Oh,
talking. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it. I was starting.
love it.
Yeah. So ask questions. Don't just pitch the idea. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. And that's the big thing about making and forming those connections. So how you're gonna be like, okay, how do I actually do that? How do I have a conversation to show that I care about someone, right? Ask these questions. How have you been? What's new with you? What are you excited about right now? How's your health? If you could change one thing about your health, what would it be? Or even if an extra $500 to $1,000 a month showed up, what would that mean for your family?
You
So the
know,
person asking those questions controls the conversation. So what do you need to do? Listen more after you ask these questions. Listen more, talk less, and find the need first that they need, right? So whether it's been something that they're excited about, you start bridging that gap, and then you're like, oh, well, whatever they're excited about. Let's say they're excited about going skydiving. I know that was super random, but it's just a thought that came to my head. They're excited about going skydiving. Okay, well, they need to make sure that they're healthy first to go skydiving, right? And then a second thing is, well, okay, can you really afford to go skydiving? I don't think it's that expensive, but I mean, who wouldn't want to go do whatever they were excited about doing for free, right? And that's something that you could think about as you're having these conversations and making those connections and asking those questions. So you got to constantly be thinking. Again, listen more, talk less, find the need first. Carmen, anything you want to add?
yeah, I do. This is really probably the most important part of what we do because this is really it's about forming, right? It's about getting to know your person. And I think when we ask questions like that and asking them, like, especially the one like the two. So, first of all, if you could change one thing about your health, what would it be? And then we just sit kind of back and listen for what they say, like, listen for the right reasons. Because, people, they do want to feel heard, they want to feel valued. And so when they actually believe that you're asking that because you truly want to know, they're going to talk and they're going to share that with you and you're going to get lots of information from that. And then when you ask if an extra 500 to 1,000 a month showed up, so you're now putting that in their head as into, like, they're picturing it. What if I did have that? What would that mean for your family? And when you let people literally think about that question and answer that question, they now become emotionally attached to the outcome. If I could show you a solution that you could truly do, like, create that extra stream of income in your life, would you be interested? And if not, like, and so also if they don't have another plan of getting that accomplished, then we are the one, then that's where we bring in that solution for them. It's like we have a solution. We are the solution people. That's what we are, and so I think that's really key. And so especially when you're aligning with somebody as well, if they share with you that, if I had that extra $1,000 a month, I could actually, put my daughter through college or university, or something like that. Well, now they've got the outcome of what they would do with that extra money. And so then when you're going in your business and these things about your brand partner, about your partner, and they're having a rough patch, they're feeling like they're getting no responses or they're, blah, 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 blah. You can go back to them and just say, how important is it for you to have that $1,000 a month? You told me that you wanted to pay for your daughter's school. So, if not this, then what? So let's just like go back to the drawing board and start again. You know what I mean? And relaunch, re whatever. And I think that's really important because if we know our people and we know what makes them, tick, or what makes them excited, or what makes them what they're emotionally attached to, like what's important to them, it helps us to help them. And I think so that's the thing with asking questions as well.
That is definitely very true. You nailed that one. I wanted to do something. I know people have been mentioning it. If you've been on the IPA call, I know it was mentioned yesterday. It may have even been mentioned on Monday. Um, Carmen, I don't know what you guys do, like what the exact verbiage is in Canada, but I'm going to show you something. And I know, Carmen, you and I didn't talk about this, but I promise, just trust me, okay?
I trust you.
I'm not going to go too crazy. I have so many things open. I apologize. This is the life of Sarah. Okay, so one thing that they mention is, and this is to help you build your list, right? You might have been here for a year, you may have been here 2 years. You may have already had those conversations, but you need to rekindle them, right? So someone might have already reached out and asked about the drops. There's a way that you can actually go back and look without spending hours upon hours going through all of your messenger, right? So if you go to messenger and you type in the word that they used on IPA is stimulant. And when I did that, it didn't generate a lot of response. Well, I'll show you guys real fast. So I'm going to type in stimulant. I'm going to search my messages for stimulant, right? So it's going to pop up everybody that I've had that conversation with. And you see, like, even people 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 39 weeks ago, 15 weeks ago. So I can start having those conversations again and be like, hey, I know you reached out to me, such and such time ago. Just wondering if you might still be interested in learning some more about this and learning how you can make income with this, right? So another thing that I just did is body balance drops. And I have even more that are showing up, right? Because I've talked to a lot of people about the body balance drops. Now, again, Carmen, you might know off the top of your head, and it's okay if you don't. This is something that I can do some research for. But what is one thing that you guys say in Canada when you send out that first text script when someone's asking about the drops? Or how do you do that?
It's the same as you guys. It's the verbiage. I
Okay.
forget it right now, but it's like, hey, and it just kind of I forget, but it's the same verbiage as in the US.
Okay, so the one thing that you could do is just literally type in drops
Hmm.
because I believe you guys say that, right?
Oh yeah.
And you see like, oh my goodness, there's so many people I've talked about the drops with. So that is something that you can do today is you can go to your Facebook Messenger and you can do this on your phone, on your tablet. I'm on my desktop right now, so you can even do it on your desktop, right? But just you can type in stimulant, body balance drops, or just drops, and it'll pull up every single conversation that you've had recently. And I would highly suggest doing that because then that's going to help you make those connections again, have those conversations, and get things rolling for you and your business. Okay, the top needs to go away. Hold on. Okay, there it goes. Now I need to find my slideshow. There we go. Oh, actually, let me not share it. Let me just share my screen. Sorry. All right. So, with that, we're having those conversations, we're building the momentum. Now we need to book the appointment, right? So again, don't explain everything. We don't want to word vomit on them. We just want to give them a little bit of information, create that curiosity, honestly, create that fear of missing out or, what's known as FOMO, and then get them into a three-way, whether that's a Zoom, whether that's a phone call, FaceTime, text message. It could even be a Facebook Messenger group or WhatsApp, right? As long as you have a three-way message, that is what we're looking for. Again, don't explain everything. Less is best. Carmen, you mentioned that earlier. And an example of this is based on what you just shared, I think we may have something that could help you. Would you be open to a quick 15-minute conversation with one of my business partners? And what I would do is I would send this. I'm just going to use an example. Sandra reached out to me and is wanting to lose some weight. And then I'm going to send Sandra, okay, well, based on what you just shared with me, I think we actually might have something that's going to help you. And then I'd be like, okay, well, would you be open to a quick 15-minute conversation with one of my business partners? And in the background, while I'm sending this to Sandra, I'm going to be texting Carmen, hey, Carmen, can you jump in on a three-way call with me, whether it be Zoom, whether it's a FaceTime or an actual phone call? And I'm getting that set up with Carmen, right? And you don't have to use Carmen. By all means, please use Carmen, right? because that's what she's here for. I mean, you can even reach out to me and be like, hey, Sarah, can you jump in and do a call with me real fast, right? It is just very important to have someone who is knowledgeable, who needs to be into that three-way phone call or text message or whatnot. Carmen, anything you want to add to
Yeah,
that?
I sure do. It's not even like Sarah, like it's like for the new people, you know what? It's always like I always feel better having somebody. I've been in this business for a year and a half almost, and I still like to have somebody on a call with me. Like it just, I mean, Todd Rowland still brings other people onto calls for the testimonies.
Mhm.
Like so I did a three-way yesterday with Chris and Joni Budd. And I know the person, I can answer all the questions. And I did answer those questions, just so you know. And but you know what? When our people that know us hear those questions answered by that third party, it brings credibility to us. And it just like, you know what I mean? So I could answer those questions, but when Chris and Joni answered those questions, he heard it differently. You know what I mean? And so we don't need to be offense to that. Oh, I already told him that. No, you just like, I've heard people say that, when I do calls, it's like, I told them that, I told them that. And it's like, I know. So it's not about, I already gave them that information. It's about let them process in their way. When they hear it from the third party, they're hearing the same thing, but they're hearing it from somebody else that's bringing you credibility. So that's a good thing. That's what we want.
Third party validation at its
Mhm.
finest. All right. So, and with that, we have a system here that works, right? We know that it works. And the things that we teach are three-way calls, Zooms, getting people to an event, building those testimonials, and then sharing the stories, right? Like we've all done it. But we just mentioned about three-way calls, the Zooms. The most important thing is getting people to an event, whether it's a corporate event, whether it's a local drop talk, whether it's an event that's virtual like this one here, right? Just the importance is getting them to an event. You don't know if you don't know, right? So it's great to always be learning. And Carmen, I think we're going to be working on and actually I think you and Marlene have it to where all Zooms and Drop Talks they're in a Google Calendar. Is that not right?
Yeah, we have all that.
Yeah.
Marlene keeps
So
that pretty updated. So
yeah, so make sure you're utilizing that
that's
to
our
get people
that's our
to
team.
events.
Sorry, that's our team website, poweredbypartnership.co/onboarding. I believe is where it takes you to, or just go to poweredbypartnership.co. And there's lots of tabs. You can see the calendar. You can see we've got all the Zoom links there. And it's also got a step by step to onboarding people. So it's very, very simplified and helpful. And we're still going to be improving that website as we go. Like we're going to have a section too for just products. I'm not even sure if it's there yet, but we're working on it. But I think it's just really nice to have everything in one spot. Even there's a section too where Marlene, do you want to talk about that for a minute? Because that's our system, and I think that's really important. Like there's a
I think so
section that
too.
kind of takes you to all the like the share app, like it gives you, where to find everything. Like, do you want to talk about that more?
I can try. My internet's shitty. So, yeah, it's just a good place to go through and, go through the onboarding yourself so that you can help your teammates. You can direct them there and you can go through it. But there's step by step. There's also videos. So if they're, trying to set up their boards or whatever, Joni's videos, all our tutorial videos are there. So they can either watch videos or they can actually just go step by step. Um, there's the calendar. There's, a lot of things that we're just continually adding. All of the links, not all of the links, corporate links there. There's other team links there. So you just go in there and check it out. So it's like Carmen said, it's powered by partnership .co, not com, Diane. And then /onboarding. The password is welcome if you need the password to get in. And like Carmen said, we're still improving lots of other things there, but it's just one spot where you can hopefully find a lot of the resources to, keep yourself organized and keep your new teammates where they can go and just grab information.
Exactly, Mar. And like, so say, someone says I'm on step three, then you'll kind of, if you know the steps, then you're going to know where they're at and if they, what extra help they may need to be onboarding. And I do think it's important to be on calls with our people, onboarding them as well. Like they can go through those steps on their own and then you can just at least be there. It's good to, like, I think that's a crucial part of the business is helping them onboard to building that relationship. Now, I want to talk about three-way calls for a bit here because so here's what I think is really important. Like, when we are inviting, like, so I'm going to refer to yesterday because I already, knew who I was bringing on the call. I've had the conversations. I've asked the questions. I knew enough to share. So when I invite Chris and Joni onto um, a three-way call for me, Barry is really, really good at this. And like just kind of giving them enough information to kind of know. So, so that they know that, he lives in this area, he might be, speaking about this would help him. Like, so kind of giving them a little bit of information about the person they're coming on the call with helps direct the like the the direction of that call of what's important. If it's really about their health, then we're going to focus more on their health and on our products or on testimonies. But if it's really about just I need to make some extra money, like what do how do I do that? Well, I'm going to make sure that the person that I'm bringing on a three-way call with me is going to know that information because that's going to help direct that and then maybe even help them to know what more questions they may want to ask to dig into that a little further. So, and when you do a three-way call, it's really about edifying. So if I'm saying, so if I'm bringing, so I've got Marlene on a call with me, and I'm going to bring Sarah on to do a three-way with me to help me close Marlene. I'm going to edify Marlene. Once Sarah's on the call, I'm going to edify Marlene to Sarah. I'm going to do a short intro. This is my friend Marlene. She's shared with me already this and that, and I'm just really excited to have her here, and I just want to value her time, and so get kind of to the point. So I'll just give a few little tidbits, and then I'm gonna say, and Marlene, this is my business partner Sarah Weaver, and she's I brought her on the call. Like, first of all, she's an amazing person. I really trust her. I love her. Like, you kind of let people know that you know this person, you have a relationship with this person, and you brought them on because they have a little extra knowledge on something that might resonate with that person. Like, try to connect people, like connect them. So whatever it might be, just try to find that connection. And so, because, and that's where you don't need to have upline do three-way calls. You can bring on somebody that you feel will resonate with that person, who will connect with that person. And I think that's really key. And then when you're doing the three-way calls, once you introduce the two people, then you just mute yourself basically and let them talk, because usually the person doing the three-way that's helping you has a plan. So when they're asking questions or it's like, I already told you, no, you don't ever you just let that person like do the three-way call. And so a lot of times for me too, like I like to come on a three-way call and help do my thing, and then I like to hop off the call. So this is where it's important. I wanted to touch on this because so when we are in the area where we feel like we're close to, like, we've kind of got the close, like we've kind of gone through some of the questions or whatever might be holding that person back. When for me, when I feel comfortable, I think it's like, when I feel like we've kind of answered enough stuff, I think it's time for me to hop off. I want to hop off. I like to leave the two people alone to finish that conversation. So if you hear me saying, oh, I'm just going to hop off here, it's like, that's my cue kind of there. Your cue, just let me go. And then allows you to finish that connection, because that person is there because of you, not me, and then you can carry on and hopefully be sharing their link and getting them enrolled, walking them through that process. When they say yes to enrolling, don't wait. If they're able to get it in, like, don't wait. Just whenever you get on a three-way call, have your enrollment link ready to go. Because if they say yes, and then while we're on the call, like, I think people's time is valuable. So you'll want to share out that link in a text, and then they can click on it, and you can just, walk them through it and have that part finalized as well. So that's just what I would suggest. I always like to have everything ready to go. So when somebody says yes, there's not, oh, hang on. I gotta, you know what I mean? So I think that's really important.
And that's why it's very important for you and your team that you're building to do the following. Make the list, start conversations, ask those questions so that you can build that connection, right? And then also book appointments, but then also plug people into the system because we know the system that we have here actually works, right? Stop trying to be the expert. Like Carmen just said, you are going to have a third party validation come in and help you. Let them be the expert. You're just bridging the gap, right? And you're making that connection. So we do have a challenge for you guys. I like to call it homework. I'm not a teacher, but I love homework. I know I'm such a nerd. But the challenge is before midnight tomorrow, midnight for wherever you are, whatever time zone that you're located in. Add those 20 names. Make a list of 20 names. Don't be scared. And it could even be your chicken list. That's okay. I have someone that's on my chicken list, right? And I literally just wrote their name down. But add 20 names to your list. And what you're going to do is you're going to send at least 10 messages and do like one of the things that we talked about. Hey, how have you been? You know, like just make that connection. Now, it is good if you want to do all 20. If you want to send messages to all 20 people, that's fantabulous. Definitely do so. But at least send 10 of those a message and create a connection. And then book 2 appointments. Get at least 2 appointments. Now, if you want to book 20 appointments, by all means, that is great. Definitely do
Hi,
that. And then invite 5 people
I'm
to a
just
Zoom.
finishing off a Zoom. Can I give you a call?
Yeah, but I thought the Zooms were at 8.
This is one.
Thank you, Marley. But then invite 5 people to a Zoom. Just get them into a Zoom, right? Carmen, anything you want to add to our homework?
No, I'm laughing at poor Sharon. Sharon, it's all good. We don't mind.
Yeah, no, you are
She's
all
over there like,
good.
oh no, they heard me. I'm like, no, it's all good. We've seen way worse, let me tell you.
Oh, yes, we have.
Right, Sarah?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
But I think what we're trying to say here really is, you know what? Let's go back to the basics always and get that list. Let's work on that list together. You guys, I would like to be doing more three-way calls with our team to help us grow. And with this epic club, I won't say the right verbiage. I mean, 2 people, if you enroll, we've got till August. Like, so I just think like it just helps us with making a goal. It's like if I got one now, well, then I just need one more. Then when you have your two, it's like, wait a minute, I've got these conversations started. Well, now guess what? Now I have four. Like, I mean, if you have the more conversations you've got started, the more progress you're going to make. And so just do it. Like, get those conversations started. And you don't need to be an expert because I'll tell you right now, when you become an expert, you're no longer duplicatable. Keep it simple. Because I'll tell you, if I thought I had to be like Christy Walsh when I first joined, I would have never joined. I can't do what she does. I can do what Carmen does, though. I can just speak from my heart. I'm a completely different personality. And so we want to make sure that, if I don't know the answer to something, just be honest. And it doesn't mean that you're not smart. It just means that you don't have the answer. But the best thing you can say is, I don't have the answer. That great question. Let me find out for you. And that's it. Simple, simple, simple.
Carmen, to that real fast, I want to add something that my advisor, when I was getting my PhD, told me is that you can smell crap a mile away. So when you try to fake it till you make it, people can see it, right? So it's okay to not have all the answers. Even people ask me questions. I'm like, well, I don't know the answer to that, but I can find out. I know exactly who to contact, and I know where I can go search to find the answer, and that's okay. It's being honest and it's validating you. It's building your credibility. It's building that trust, and it shows that, we're not all experts, right? That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, guys, that is going to be it for us for today, or from us for today, because it is officially 52 minutes after the hour. So, Carmen, anything you want to close with?
Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody for showing up today. I know when we show up to stuff like this, it just shows that each of you want to be here and each of you have a vision for yourselves and you want to win. And that makes me happy. I show up because I want to win. So I just want to say I want to encourage each of you just to start those conversations and yeah. Yes, Barry, I'd love to hear from you actually. Start those conversations. And if I can help in any way with three-way calls, please let me know. And Barry, what would you like? You've got your hand up. Go ahead.
Just a quick question, if you don't mind. When three-way calls versus inviting to a Zoom, I mean, I guess sometimes like who's the real hot one versus, I mean, I don't think you want to set up 20 Zooms with people that are okay or they do need more money or they do need better health. Do you do that first or do you invite them to a Zoom and then just do the hot ones on the three ways? Because sometimes it seems like I don't want to bother you all with I'm not sure about people, but what's your advice on all that? You're smiling. I know you got an answer.
Oh, Barry, I love it. This is exactly what we want to talk about. So, first of all, I think doing the three-way, we never prejudge anybody. Never are we wasting our time when we're growing our business. If I hop on a Zoom and that person doesn't show up, am I upset? No. You know why? Because I'm just really happy to see that, say, Rhoda is putting me on a call with somebody. She is working her business. So we're never upset. Like, and that's what I know some people are always like, I'm sorry, don't apologize for trying to build your business. Like
Yeah.
we get it. Like, do you want me to tell you how many no-shows I've had? Probably more than you. So just so you know. And does it hurt my feelings? Do I get disappointed? Of course I do. I'm human, but I also keep going because you know what? It's next. And you know what? So Barry, what I want to say is I'll use yesterday for an example just because it's on my mind. So I started off with a three-way call with somebody, right? And I did that first. And then I ended up inviting him onto your Zoom last night. Now, and it was great because I've already formed that relationship. I've built that relationship. I've introduced him to, our community. And then he got to come on a call last night and meet you and Reese and a few other people, right? So, to me, it was like, wow, that couldn't have worked out any better. So, but I don't ever if I don't put it into like, oh, I'm going to do it this way only. Like we've got to be kind of open to adapting. It's like, well, you know what? If I got somebody on a Zoom first, now they've got that information. I would prefer directly after the Zoom. Like if you've got guests on a Zoom, let me know that you might need a support call right after. And that's where now I know what information they've seen. And I can come on there and go, okay, so what did you like best about what you saw? So as soon as
Yeah.
that was over, that was my question to him. And I didn't go,
Yeah, I heard you.
what did you think? No, I said, what did you like best about what you
Right.
saw? Because that sets the pace. And guess what? Now they're going to tell you,
You're forcing them
I
to an
really
answer.
liked that this, and this. Well, now you know what sparked them. So now we go in on that for the close, right? To help bring them to a decision. So
Okay. Cool. And
never
I think what I'm
prejudge.
going to do.
And the other thing too, when we prejudge, I think it's really important because you don't know who that person knows. You don't know who, and that's the thing with asking these questions, right? When you're on those, do you know anybody in your life? Like, do you know anybody that would like to make some extra money? Do you know anybody that needs to lose weight? Do you know anybody having any health issues? You ask a couple questions like that, and they're going to go, yeah. Okay, well, then now it's not about you anymore. It's about those people. They need us.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I mean? So just, don't ever prejudge and don't think, oh, I'm wasting someone's time. We're never wasting time here. When we're working, when we're sharing and when we're, delivering a message or just asking questions or working, there's never, but when we don't focus on the outcome, we focus on the work, right? Doing what we know and go from there.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks. Yeah. Get ready. I get 21 names I just wrote down.
Alrighty, I'm ready.
Barry, I love that you said that you have 21 names that you wrote down. I am super excited. I love this.
Yeah, and I like the scripts. There was one, I think in Carmen's notes in the partner co, or maybe there's from you, Sarah, the one where you talked to some people and said, hey, well, it's just maybe it wasn't time, but I really love to revisit it with you and find out why you were looking and then get them engaged. And then James Zing as far as hey, this might not be for you. Or I think what I'm going to use is that, just my plan, my purpose. And I don't know a lot about this yet, but let me put some experts who are my mentors, business partners, etc., and let's get this information to you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah, find what resonates with you and what works with you and what you feel good about. Yeah, I love that. Thanks, Barry.
Thank you, ladies. You're the best.
Awesome. Well,
You're
thank
the
you, Barry.
best. Well, you guys, thank you all for coming, and we will see you next Wednesday. Thank
Bye,
God.
guys.
Thank God we don't do Tuesdays. Just kidding.
Have an awesome day, ladies.
You guys as well.